7.5 miles long. This textbook says, see, it took 9,900 years. No, you see, they don't understand. Niagara Falls is right here. It used to be up here. It has moved back 7.5 miles. I have a question. If the Earth is millions of years old, why hasn't it moved all the way back to Lake Erie by now? Or clear to Florida? Why is Niagara Falls right there? Well, I have a theory about that. Here's my theory. I believe about 6,000 years ago, God made everything. 4,400 years ago, there was a flood. And as the flood water was running off, about half that gully washed out in 20 minutes. So it looks like it took 9,900 years. They forgot the flood. They also forgot to get their facts straight. It should have been 8,400 had the textbook used the right number. But, you know, public school textbook, what do you expect? When it rains, 30% of the water runs into the ocean, bringing with it mineral salts. The oceans are getting saltier every day. Today, they're 3.6% salt. They could have done that in a few thousand years, folks, not millions of years. I was in a debate one time, and this atheist said, Mr. Hovind, would you please explain to the audience how the freshwater fish survived in Noah's flood? I said, well, sir, aren't you assuming the flood was salt water? He said, the ocean is salt water. I said, well, yeah, it is today. But I think during the flood, it was mostly fresh water. And as the oceans have gotten saltier over the last 4,400 years, some animals have had to adapt to salt water. And today we have freshwater crocodile and saltwater crocodile. And they probably had a common ancestor. A crocodile. He said, see, that's evolution. I said, oh, no, come on now, sir, hold it. Going from a freshwater croc to a saltwater croc is a minor change compared to the evolution myth. You believe they changed from a rock to a croc. Now, that would be a major change. By the way, how many have ever gone into a cave and the guide said, don't touch the formations, they take millions of years to form? You ever heard that before? Yep. If you go to Carlsbad, they'll say it took 250 million years. I don't think so. They say it takes 1,000 years to grow 1 inch. Then why are there 50-inch stalactites growing under the Lincoln Memorial, built 1922? Here's a bat covered up with flowstone before he could even rot. Here are 2-inch stalactites growing off a refrigeration shed in Pensacola, Florida. There's a building in Indiana that was only 40 years old. When they went down the basement, it was loaded with flowstone formations after 40 years. A mine in Australia had been shut down for 55 years. When they opened it up to go check it out, it was loaded with stalactites, stalagmites, ribbons, formation, flowstone, you name it. It was in there, just like a mature cave. Here's a dripping water pipe in a building 7 years old at the Air Force Base in Florida. 13-inch stalactite. On the floor was a stalagmite. They broke it off and gave it to me. They said, everybody keeps tripping on this. You want it? I said, yeah, it's in my museum in Pensacola, Florida. There's a place in Wyoming where they have what's called the teepee fountain. Back in 1903, this guy stuck a pipe in his yard because the water bubbled up out of the ground. Well, this made the water bubble out the top of the pipe and run down the sides. As it ran down the side, some of it evaporated and it left behind a mineral deposit. How many have seen those before in your sink? Okay, you get the mineral deposits. Well, the guy died and they left the pipe sticking in the yard. It is still there today, by the way, in Thermopolis, Wyoming. Here is the pipe right now. That would take a little bit of lime away to get rid of that one, wouldn't it? The guy down the street got jealous because his neighbor had a fountain, so he, several years later, stuck one in his yard. It's not quite as big, but it's catching up. Don't let them tell you it takes millions of years for those things to form. It does not. When it rains, water runs into the ocean, bringing with it not only mineral salts, but also dirt. Let's see, we have landslides, mudslides, mass wasting, ground creep, avalanches. Does the ground ever fall up? It's always down, right? Did you know at the current rate of erosion, the continents will erode flat in about 14 million years? Then how on earth can we have fossils that are 300 times older than that, still above sea level? They should have washed out to sea 300 times. One atheist said, well, don't you know volcanoes are constantly bringing up new material? I said, yes, I do know, but that's all metamorphic or igneous rock. It doesn't contain any fossils. Sedimentary rock should have been washed out to sea. Why are the oldest languages in the world only 5,000 years old? And the oldest languages are modern and sophisticated and complete, sometimes many more times more complex than English today. Why do the Chinese say this is the year 4698 on their calendar? Well, they might have started with Noah or Shem before the flood. Why does the Hebrew calendar say this is the year 5760? I'm getting worried, folks. I collect science books, but I don't think there are many books about science anymore. They're really books about evolution. They want to make sure your kids believe this theory. They want to brainwash your kids. Did you know 75% of the kids from Christian homes that go to public schools will lose their faith after 1 year of college? 75%. And the evidence is overwhelming. The earth is young, but the kids are never shown that. They're only taught that it's millions of years old. And it just simply cannot be. And it really destroys the faith of Christians. Maybe you never heard of Crawford Toy, but he was a famous Southern Baptist seminary professor about 130 years ago. Crawford Toy almost married a girl named Lottie Moon. Every Christmas, the Southern Baptist churches will have the Lottie Moon offering. She was a great missionary to China. Crawford Toy went to Europe and studied evolution. Now here he was, a Bible teacher. He came back and told his seminary class, kids, the Bible intends to teach a plain 6-day creation. The Bible is simply in error at that point. The Bible's in error. Crawford, maybe your theory's in error. Maybe you got brainwashed going to school, Crawford. Hey, it's very easy to get brainwashed, folks. I'll show you. I'm going to try to brainwash the whole crowd here tonight. Then we're going to quit and go home. I will tell you a story. As I tell the story, I will attempt to brainwash you. It's a harmless procedure, nothing to worry about. Okay? When I'm done brainwashing you, I will ask you 2 questions about the story. And if you can answer the question, I want you just to raise your hand. Here goes the story. Now pay attention. Once upon a time, a man left home jogging. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left and jogged back home. As he was jogging home, he noticed 2 masked men were waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men, and why did he leave home jogging? If you know for sure, raise your hand. There's about 20 of you. Okay. The rest of you, pay attention. We're going to try it again. Once upon a time, a man left home jogging. He jogged a little ways and turned left. I'll give you a hint. That's important. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left and jogged back home. As he was jogging home, he noticed 2 masked men were waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men, and why did he leave home jogging? Anybody new figured out? About 6 more. Okay. The rest of you, pay attention. We're going to try it one more time. Now I will unbrainwash you. Are you ready? So you didn't realize it, but I had you brainwashed in the first 4 seconds. Here goes. Same story, word for word, but now I will show you a picture that will unbrainwash you. Here goes. Once upon a time, a man left home jogging. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left and jogged back home. As he was jogging home, he noticed 2 masked men were waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men? Oh, the catcher and the umpire. You say, Brother Hovind, is it that easy to get brainwashed? Yep. As soon as I said a man left home, you started thinking about a house, didn't you? See, I got you off track in the first few seconds. And for the rest of the story, you couldn't figure out who those 2 masked men were. Would you like to see how thousands of kids are going to get brainwashed this week in your schools, in your town? Thousands of them. So simple. Here's how it works.